Have you seen the prices of eggs lately? They have skyrocketed, going from maybe a couple of bucks for a carton like this to this and even this. And that makes it more important now than ever to not waste money by messing up your eggs when you cook them. And that makes a machine like this an intriguing proposition because it claims to cook perfect eggs every time. Does it really work? Keep on watching. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook no matter your skill level. And today we are taking a look at this, the Cuisinart Egg Central. Now before we get started, I did pay for this with my own money. This is not a promotion or anything like that. These cost about $40 new, and I bought this one new, but I didn't buy it at your everyday store. And if you are a regular watcher of this channel, you might know where this is going. I actually bought this at the thrift store, and I can't remember. I think it was like $10 or $15, so a significant savings off what it would cost new. I should also note that despite the title of this video, this is not billed as a robot. I just think it looks kind of like a robot. Well, you know, just take a look at it. And unlike a robot, it's actually not very smart. And that's not a dig at this thing. Its simplicity is actually one of its charms and what makes it so easy to use. It only has one switch, which is on or off, yet despite its simplicity, it's a pretty interesting machine because it can cook eggs several types of ways. You can make hard-boiled, medium-boiled, or soft-boiled, where the eggs are cooked in their shells. Or it can also make an omelet, like an open-faced omelet. It can make poached eggs using this insert. And believe it or not, it can even make bread pudding. And the way it works is actually really interesting. There is a metal plate on the bottom that heats up, and what you do is you fill this beaker with water. And the amount of water that you fill this beaker with determines not only the type of eggs you're cooking, but how well they are done. So let me show you here. If you can see, there's actually these little lines right here, and it shows what to fill this to. So for example, if you want hard-boiled eggs, you would fill it to this line. Along with the omelet, if you wanted poached eggs or kind of a medium boiled, you would fill it to this. It's really kind of interesting. And I should also note on the bottom, there is a really, really sharp pin, and it has this little cover on it. And this pin is to actually kind of puncture the eggs when you're doing a hard-boiled type to help release some of that pressure so that they don't crack. To be honest with you, I've never done this, and I find the eggs work out fine without it, but it is there just so you know. And always keep this cover on because this pin is really, really sharp. So let me show you how this works, and for this we'll do some medium boiled eggs. That's where the yolk isn't totally fully cooked, still has a little bit of a softness, just a little bit of liquid in the middle. So what we'll do is we'll fill this beaker here, and we will fill this to about the halfway mark where it says for the medium boiled eggs. I'm using some purified water here. It does suggest using distilled water if your water is hard, kind of like mine. You might have noticed that the bottom of this plate had some mineral buildup on that. That's normal. It really isn't going to affect the cooking, but it just doesn't look that great, so I'll probably have to take like a scrubber to it or something. But anyways, I have some purified water here, and we are just going to pour this right in the bottom. And as you can see, I have this attachment here. This is the attachment that you're going to use all the time, no matter what you're cooking. And for this, we will just set the eggs right in. Now this can cook actually up to 10 eggs at a time if you use this upper attachment here, but usually I just do 7 eggs at a time. So we'll put these in here. We'll put the top on, and all we have to do is flick this switch and it turns on, and it really does the rest. Now when it is done, it makes a pretty horrible noise, almost as bad as the mochi machine that I reviewed a few weeks ago. And just like that, I will turn down the volume and post-edit so that it doesn't like blast your ears, but I will show you what I'm talking about when this is done. We're only a couple minutes in and this thing heats up really rapidly, and you can see that steam is rising at a pretty rapid rate here. And I don't know if they would recommend this, but hey, if you want one of those steaming facials, maybe just kind of, I don't know, put your face over it and you get a nice kind of steam bath. That's probably not recommended. And that signal, that highly pitched signal, means that this is done. So what's happened is all of that water that has evaporated, and that tells it that it's finished. So what you want to do is take the lid off and be very careful because there's still some really hot steam in there. So we'll take this off. Now, little tip, no matter how you are cooking your hard-boiled eggs, or in this case, medium-boiled eggs, is you want to stop their cooking immediately. Otherwise, well, they could get overdone. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to put this in an ice bath. And all an ice bath is exactly what it sounds like. It is some really cold water over some ice. And what this does is it's shocking the food. So if you hear the term shocking food, that's all this means, is we are putting this in a really cold bath here to stop that cooking. Now I can see here that maybe I should have used that pin because one of these things has exploded. And of course this has never happened using this before, but since I'm making a video on it this time, apparently one of these decided to explode. But anyways, let's see how these turned out. So what I like to do is just kind of put these on a paper towel and just kind of roll them and take the shell off. You can also do this in the water too. I notice that helps kind of, you know, keep the debris field a little bit narrower, but I'm just doing it on a paper towel here. And full disclosure, I think some of these eggs were a little bit older. If you are using fresher eggs, I think you're gonna have an easier time with this, but you know, I just kind of used what I had here. Let's cut this in half and see what it looks like. And that's a pretty good looking egg. I would describe this as a over medium hard because I can tell this yolk is still pretty cooked, but it's nice and beautiful. Sometimes when you overcook hard-boiled eggs, they will have kind of a green patina around the edge, and although they're safe to eat, that discoloration doesn't look very good. These are nice and beautiful. And tasty too. You know who else likes eggs? Bronco. Good catch, Bronx. Good catch. So this machine says it can make a 3-egg omelet, and it's really more of an open-faced omelet, kind of like a frittata. I've whisked up 3 eggs with a little bit of cream, and this is where we're going to use this omelet pan device here. And it's just a little plastic tray, just like the other parts of this. So we're going to oil this first with a little bit of oil. You could also use some butter. We're just going to kind of grease this pan, and we will just pour this egg mixture into here. I filled this to the omelet line, so we'll just pour this in. And then we will carefully put this tray right on top of that other tray. Put the lid on, and same as before, we will just hit the on switch and wait for this to shut off, and I'll show you the result. Okay, it just made that terrible sound again, and that means that it is done cooking. So again, we will lift the lid, and look at this. We have this big, puffy omelet. So I think this is such an interesting way of cooking eggs. Again, even with the hard-boiled, we're not necessarily boiling them. We are using steam. So this is a steamed omelet. So what we'll do is we'll just take this right off the tray here, and we'll just kind of slide this, or you can flop it even right on there. What I like to do is just put a little bit of cheese right on top of this omelet. And then I also like to do a little bit of oregano just right on top. Now again, this is more of an open face omelet, kind of like a frittata, except again, it isn't baked, it's been steamed. But I think this thing does a really good job of making these. And it really is this nice kind of fluffy omelet. And tasty. Now, I had mentioned that this machine can also make poached eggs as well as a bread pudding. I did make the poached eggs the other day, and I didn't have all that much success with them. They were more like kind of medium or hard-boiled triangular things that came out of that little mold. The bread pudding, though, was actually a rather nice surprise, and Cuisinart includes a little recipe for it in the instruction booklet with this thing. And it's basically just some old bread, some eggs, a little bit of cream, and then, you know, some chocolate chips. I made a white chocolate version, and it was actually quite tasty. So that was kind of an interesting bonus that this thing can make, again, via the use of steam. But let's get down to brass tacks. Is this worth the money? Is this something that you should have in your kitchen? Well, if you enjoy eggs a lot and maybe you make a lot of hard-boiled eggs, or you just have a deathly fear of not making a good omelet, and clearly you haven't watched my video on how to make a perfect omelet, link in the description below. But if that describes you, then yeah, I think this thing could be worth the money. Just using it a few times could pay for itself if you're the type of person who maybe has to buy hard-boiled eggs at the store, or you just don't want to waste the time and effort of making hard-boiled eggs at home. It should also be noted that there are other devices that can do what this does, and not just the less expensive kind of off-brand versions of this, which I've seen for as low as like maybe $15 or $20. If you have an Instant Pot, for example, you can make hard-boiled eggs in that, and there are even some kind of attachments for the Instant Pot that allow you to make different types of eggs. As for myself, I'm actually glad that I bought this thing, and not just because I got a really good deal on it and I bought it new in the box. I actually use this thing quite a bit. I make hard-boiled eggs a lot. I may even make some omelets in it, and I might start making bread pudding in it too, now that I see how easy it is. Yes, I'm a professionally trained chef. I know how to make eggs, but sometimes your time is just as valuable as money, if not more. So in that case, it really is nice to, you know, put some eggs in this thing, flip a switch, go about your business and have it, you know, be done. And it really doesn't take up much space either. It's not like this thing is like one of those unitaskers that takes up a big amount of space on your counter. This is pretty small. Everything kind of, you know, resides within this cap here. So I think it's a pretty cool little tool, especially if you eat eggs as much as I do. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this egg making journey. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so glad that you are here. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.